The introduction of bi-generation to Doctor Who led to a lot of unanswered questions, but it may also explain a classic villain known as the Valeyard. The Doctor's division into both David Tennant's 14th Doctor and Ncuti Gatwa's 15th was a huge addition to the show's lore. It means there are now at least 2 active Doctors at all times within the Doctor Who universe. The showrunner has also suggested that 14 and 15 are not alone. This means that other iterations of the Time Lord, including the Valeyard, could also return at any point. The Valeyard, played by Michael Jayston, first appeared in Doctor Who in 1986, during a story arc called The Trial of a Time Lord. Although his origins have never been officially confirmed, the Master informs the Doctor that the Valeyard is a darker version of the Doctor from somewhere beyond his 12th regeneration. While this provides some background for the mysterious villain, Doctor Who's shocking bi-generation twist offers up a more satisfying explanation regarding the Valeyard's origin. It could also accommodate a return of the Valeyard in Doctor Who Season 14 or beyond. Every version of the Doctor bi-generated in Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. The process has had a potentially huge impact on the Doctor Who canon. In a video shared on Twitter, now known as X, showrunner Russell T Davies shared his theories regarding what happened to the Doctor's timeline during 14's unusual regeneration scene. Speaking on a commentary track for The Giggle, the ending of the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials, Davies claims, the whole timeline bi-generated then. This suggests that every version of the Doctor survived their respective regeneration processes, and continued in their current form, each also spawning a new Doctor. If this is true, then every Doctor there has ever been still exists, creating a form of Doctor Who multiverse. This not only includes every past and future Doctor, but versions of the Time Lord with alternate titles such as the War Doctor and the Valeyard. As such, any regeneration could return to Doctor Who at any time. While certain actors, such as William Hartnell as the First Doctor, can no longer return due to passing away, the First Doctor has since appeared in the modern era due to him being recast. Matt Smith's Doctor can regenerate into the Valeyard. Smith's Doctor was originally the final version of the Time Lord. Matt Smith as a much older version of the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who. At the time of the Valeyard's debut, the Doctor, along with the other Time Lords, could only regenerate 12 times. This would mean that the Doctor had the potential to take 13 different forms. While this has since changed due to revelations in the Doctor Who Timeless Child storyline, the rule of 12 was in place at the time of Matt Smith's regeneration. Despite Smith holding the title of the 11th Doctor, he had actually used up all his regenerations. One of his regenerations was used to take the form of the War Doctor, who came between 8 and 9. In addition, David Tennant's 10th Doctor aborted a regeneration in Doctor Who Season 4, but this still used up one of his cycles. As such, Matt Smith's 11th Doctor was actually his 13th and final form at the time. If the Master was correct about the Valeyard coming after the Doctor's final regeneration, then this would be where the Valeyard would appear. Russell T Davies' theory about every Doctor bi-generating would mean 11 survived the events of his final episode, and the Valeyard emerged from his body as 15 did from 14 in The Giggle. Seeing as this didn't happen on screen, one theory could be that the Doctor's history was altered as he bi-generated in The Giggle. If so, Matt Smith's final scene would now include the Valeyard, showing the villain's introduction to the Doctor Who timeline. However, the Valeyard shown in the 1980s episodes may have regenerated or bi-generated himself since coming into being, so he may not necessarily have the same face. Bi-generation means countless other Doctors exist in the Whoniverse. The world will never be short of Doctors again. For versions of the Doctor from Doctor Who, bi-generation doesn't just account for the 15th Doctor, it means the exponential growth in the number of Doctors throughout the Doctor Who universe. Starting with Hartnell, all of these Doctors will have at least doubled in number. However, the Timeless Child story revealed there are a great many versions of the Time Lord prior to Hartnell that the Doctor cannot remember. The only version with any substance shown so far is Ruth, the fugitive Doctor. If the countless other pre-Hartnell Doctors also bi-generated, there would be an incredible number of Doctors roaming the universe. If the Valeyard did stem from the 11th Doctor, then he too could have bi-generated several times between then and his first appearance opposite Colin Baker's 6th Doctor. This would mean that while there would be far fewer versions of the Valeyard than the Doctor, but the number could still have increased. Seeing as the Valeyard is supposedly an amalgamation of all the darkest facets of the Doctor, this would make them all formidable enemies. Doctor Who's bi-generation twist makes a Valeyard return possible. The origin of the classic Doctor Who villain can now be more effectively explained. Michael Jayston as the Valeyard in Doctor Who. The original appearances of the Valeyard were shrouded in mystery, with there being no solid proof as to where he came from. If he were to return to the show, then a more detailed explanation would need to be provided. Although the Doctor's timeline has become infinitely more complex since the events of The Giggle, the lore about the Valeyard coming as the final version of the Doctor could still ring true. Peter Capaldi has already been shown to canonically follow Matt Smith as the next Doctor, but the process of bigeneration affords the show's writers to slot the Valeyard in between the two iterations. As such, while it may have been too messy to bring the Valeyard back to Doctor Who before now, it's never made more sense to do so. The numbering system remains in place for the main Doctors, but they have been essentially rendered defunct.